Oh man, who was that guy? He was the guy who knew the guy. He talked about the thing. Memory, how it helps us and how sometimes it fails us. But what we want to talk about, as always, is what does it mean to our customer? How does our customer rely on their memory to make a purchase decision? And in particular, how do they rely on something called the explicit memory? Now, the explicit memory measures the explicit memory measures, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, the details. The explicit memory remembers the details, or remembers all of the fine points. It's the part that's going to stand out. So when I'm looking at it, I'm asking myself the question, what time is that phone call, and who am I going to see in my office next Thursday? These are all aspects of the explicit memory, and from your customer's perspective, those are the things that come to top of mind. The customer will rely on that explicit memory to try and sort everything out in their purchase process. Now, that's a lot of details to think about when you're considering purchasing, but your explicit memory is going to guide you down that path. And that's all well and good until stress comes into the picture. And now you've got pricing conversations and details and features and competition shopping and Yelp reveals and Now, studies have found that in those circumstances, when there's a lot of stress, it makes it very, very difficult for things to stick. We'll find that our explicit memory fails us when we are in times of great stress. That stress sort of blocks the ability for the memories to really sink in. And that's a real problem for your customers because they need those memories in order to sort it all out and make sense of the purchase decision. So let's think about it from the perspective of your customer when they are considering buying something. And the reality is that when we're in that buying mode, there are really two selves. There is our experiencing self and there is our memory self. Now, the experiencing self is the part of us that's going through it in real time and is catching every single detail. But the memory self is the part that sticks after the fact. So right now, as you're watching this video, what part of your brain are you using? You're using your experiencing self. But if somebody asks you 30 minutes from now, what do you remember about the video? You'll go back to your memory self. All right, now here's the question. From a customer's perspective, what are they using more while they're in that process of making a decision? Do they rely more on the experiencing self or on the memory self? If you said memory self, you would be correct. Look, in a very short buying cycle, if somebody's going to walk in and buy in a matter of minutes, it's the experiencing self that's going to do the work. But if the buying process takes longer than that, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, days, weeks, months, years, then what is your customer going to rely on? They're going to rely on the memory self. What stands out? What stays with me? So that's why when you look at some of those techniques, the old school techniques, the idea of ABC, always be A, always B, C, closing, right? When we look at those techniques, they might work if you want to be in a high pressure environment. But more and more sales professionals that we see, they don't want to be in that high pressure environment. And I guarantee you that's not what your customer wants. That longer buying cycle depends upon a clarity of the memories. But if the sales presentation was too stressful, it makes it difficult for those memories to really take root. So that begs the question, how do we make those memories sticky? How do we get them to last? And I want to give you 3 ideas for what you can do to really make those stick. First of all, you want to sell anticipated memories. The founder of behavioral economics, Daniel Kahneman, he says that we think of our future in terms of anticipated memories. So when you are walking your customer into their own future, when you are getting them to try that product on, to hold it in their hands, to test drive it, to walk around, whatever it is, when you're thinking in those terms, you're placing them into their future. And as they place themselves into their own future, that's when the emotion kicks in. That's when the visualization kicks in. They get this picture in their brain, and because they developed their own picture, it is far more likely to be memorable. Don't sell according to just what the features are, sell according to what the customer's future will look like. Now, the second thing you can do is make sure you smile. Now, look, I know that sounds kind of silly, but the fact of the matter is that smiles are proven to reduce stress. If your customer's going through a process that's complicated, it's detailed, there are a lot of moving parts, then what's going to happen? Their brain is really going to start to get a little bit worked up. But when we smile, it relaxes the brain, it reduces the stress. Then those things that we are sharing with the customer are far more likely to be remembered. We actually remember things more when we are in a calm, relaxed, stress-free state of mind, and a smile goes a long way to making that happen. And finally, if you want things to be memorable, speak in ownership terms. It's not if you buy this, it's when you buy this. It's not should you decide to use this, it's when you are using this. We want to get our customer thinking into their own future. And when we use ownership terms, we are asking them to try the product on for size. What does it feel like to already own it? That's the question. That's the idea. If I'm trying on a jacket at a store, it's not a question of how does it look, it's a question of how does it feel. And I don't mean feel by material, I mean, how does it feel in here? The idea is that we are emotional creatures, and when we connect our customers to the emotions, that's when the memories become sticky. Find ways to get your customer locked into their future memories. That is the way we will sell most effectively. That is when we will change their world. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you're new to our 5-minute sales training, hit the subscribe button. We'd sure appreciate that. And if you want to be notified when our next episode comes out, just hop over to jeffshore.com. Right there on the front page, you can sign up for our free 5-minute sales training. And until next time, learn more to earn more.